Leon, obviously, this team seemed pretty fired up to actually play another game after Wednesday, and it certainly kind of seemed like it with the way they're able to start. How much did you notice that this week, them ready to just kind of get back out there?
Well, it was just, I'm not going to lie, it was a stressful week, and it was a tough, unique thing to go through. And, it was stressful on our whole program, and it's a credit to our guys, their character, their backbone, to be able to bounce back and play, my estimation is maybe one of their best games, both offensively and defensively in effort. And, usually I show up at the gym and I'm wanting our guys to play hard, and I want our guys to play together and let the chips fall where they may. This is the game where I was like, boy, do I want to win for these guys. And it was an impressive effort by them. It was much needed, and like I said, it makes me feel I have a lot of hope in what's in front of us with the way we're playing, and that's exciting.
James said that he described yesterday's practice. He said it was crazy. He just said it wasn't like any other practice he'd had. What was it like? From you seeing it, how fired up they were. It just sounded like it was very different.
Maybe it was there was parts of it that were the best practice of the year, and again, it's a credit to these guys. They had to handle a lot of stress, and I think 18 to 20. The beauty of 18 to 22-year-old, in our case 23-year-olds, is sometimes they can handle it better than we can, and they handle it. They put it on their backs, and they went and got it done.
With the way that went down, how much does that build motivation for you guys with what's remaining on the schedule to finish out?
Well, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes events galvanize a team. And, we've got a pretty good-looking team right now, and that's the difference in the game like tonight, where guys don't have to play 38 minutes because everybody's participating and everybody's bringing something to the table and helping us. And it's one thing to want to play everybody, but now you're subbing a really good player and somebody comes in and does bad things and hurts your team. We got everybody helping the team, and pulling the rope in the same direction. And I knew that if I felt like if we get that, then we're a mighty good team, and it certainly looked like that tonight.
With all you dealt with the last couple of days, could have come out and could have gone totally different today.
Absolutely.
Were you concerned at all, or were you confident?
No, I was like I said. I think I told my staff this in my however many years of coaching, and all the games I've ever been in NCAA tournament games, never wanted to win worse than today, for them. So, pretty happy they got it done.
And you mentioned to do it on both sides of the ball too. Obviously the offense was clicking, and Wyoming doesn't normally ever really give up this many points. But also too, in the second half, sometimes haven't been very good defensively for you. But there was a stretch where they didn't score for more than 4 minutes
right
there.
And we had to cool them off because they were running their stuff well. They were they were making shots. They were making some contested ones, and they got a great system, a great coach, and their style is hard to play against. It can be very frustrating, and all those things can happen when you play Wyoming. And we've had them happen before. We've had them happen here before, and so to have a game like that against a team and a coach who I have so much respect for, you score 94 points against Wyoming. You're like, wow, it's not like an ordinary up and down game.
I thought Tego's athleticism really helped on the defense of Josh Adams.
Yeah.
You talk about that. It seems like Adams had a hard time because Tego
Well,
keeps up with him.
How about Josh Adams is a really special player, and when you play a special player like that can go get 30, boom, you can't give him any easy baskets because you got to just make him. Because he had 16, and some of them that he made were like, oh my gosh, how do you make that? You have to make him make a whole bunch of those, and still, like I said, you're not going to stop him. He still gets 16 points. You just got to hope that it can be cumulative, and you just make it tough, and you make it tough, and make it tough for the whole game. And I thought, with Tego's quickness and athleticism, because some guys just can't stay with him. Period. At least Tego's close. They're in the same ballpark. They're both, freaky athletic, and so between the two of them, Tego can run around with him a little bit.
James starts off slow, at least scoring wise, but then you look down at the end of the game, he finishes with 21 and 11. Talk about his maturity, letting the game come to him, and he got to the line 10 times tonight for you.
Yeah, that was, no, James is, he's one of those guys, we had a kid here last year that was pretty darn good in the second half of games, and James is kind of showing that too, it seems like his second halves are just better and better as the game goes on.
You mentioned the second half. I mean, they had 5 rebounds the entire second half, and I think you had 17. And especially, you knew CSU was going to be a good rebounding team, but you still had it, on Wednesday, and you had a tough time with those guys. So to be able to just kind of put that together, in this game, in key moments in that second half.
Yeah, and again, the thing that I wanted to see with this team is we made mistakes. I want to make up for those mistakes with just extreme hustle, and they did. Like a perfect example is Nick violated on the free throw. I think Nick's violated for 3 years here. Well, you know what? Next play moves on. Next play he takes a charge. So he just make up for it, and that that's what we're trying to get all our guys to do, and they did that tonight. I mean, Nick gets 4 offensive rebounds. He was air dunking. So that was huge. Those were big. He was just in there competing, and that's when you get a group of guys, 10 guys doing that, then you can have a special team.
I asked Anthony about Nick's game. It seemed like that was one of his best inside-outside games that he's kind of had here.
Yeah.
Just how much of a difference does that make when he kind of does that, gets that concerted effort, and he went in there and grabbed a bunch of offensive rebounds, scored quite a few of those layups and those moves inside too.
That's huge. It's really big, and we're getting that. Like I said, the biggest thing is we're getting everybody starting to bring what they bring to the table. And you get 7, 8, 9, 10 guys clicking on the same page with the talent that they have in their ways, because it's one thing to sub and bring a guy in that doesn't help you, but now we're bringing guys in that help you, and they buy us minutes, and then so a guy like Nick can make those hustle plays instead of playing 38 minutes and being worn down. Our bench is helping us enough that he doesn't have to play those heavy minutes.
Piggybacking off that, you guys had 5 guys in double figures. You happy with the balance?
Well, pardon me?
You happy with the balance?
That's what we want. Yeah, absolutely, and that's what this team needs to be. And you're seeing that now. So, and that's when you're hardest to guard, when that ball just pings around like it's doing, and the energy in the ball goes into the rim. It usually goes in for us then.
You mentioned kind of this already with the hope after what you saw today moving forward. I mean, I know you didn't want it to happen like this, but can this be an event that kind of brings the team really, really close, and that you hope kind of uses to fuel you forward?
Well, I told excuse me. I told the team it's hard to connect the dots forward and see that. When we look back on this Sunday, we will, and I'm hoping for that. But you can always look backwards and connect the dots. It's hard to do it looking forward.
People say that adversity will bring out the character in people. What did you learn about the character of this team with the adversity?
Backbone, and they got because our kids got us through this, our players got us through this, and they're the ones that as much as I try to get them going, you can't if they don't have it within themselves, and they did it. So credit to our guys. Like I said, I don't know when I've been more proud of our teams yet.
I know you're trying to move past it and stuff, but when you do find out that that they basically admit you should have won the game, and then that they
Great, we won back-to-back games. That's awesome. So we're on a 2-game winning streak, and away we go.
I would say 2 games in a row now. You've had Nick
won.
and you've had Nick. There you go. Maybe that's why Nick and Anthony coming off the bench. Just what kind of preceded that? I know you wanted to make some changes. What went into that?
I like it. And there's some secretive things that we do that that help us as a team, and I think that's the combinations there work in our favor and things like that. But it's been I like the notion of this team right now, and we just gotta keep building on that.
I would imagine the decision to have to ask, guys like that who aren't coming off the bench type of players to start coming off the bench now. Sometimes that could backfire.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, talk about that a little bit. It doesn't seem like that's happening.
No, not at all. And again, like I said, it goes to the character, and it goes to the kind of kids these guys are. They want one thing. They want to get the job done, and they want this, they want to run this thing out at a high level, and it takes a commitment like that where you're not worried about things like starting, not starting, and we got great kids that, if they'll come and score maybe in school history or right there, coming off the bench. Like you said, that's not a normal come off the bench guy, so it's pretty neat.
Lonnie's become a real weapon for you guys as of late. Was there ever a point this season where you weren't sure if he was going to get to this level? Or
No, when you see what he can do in practice, and he is an elite level shooter. Elite level. When that ball gets in the magic pocket, he's got setup time. And then even there's sometimes when he doesn't need setup time, when he gets on a real roll, I've seen a few times where it's like, oh my goodness. So you get an elite level shooter out there. Plus he's a good character kid, high character kid. He's a good leader. He's been through a lot of battles. So all those qualities are what I look for, and he's really helped us.
In all seriousness, though, we saw the statement yesterday. What was kind of your?
Mine was all seriousness too. I would never not be all serious with you. You know me better than that.
Yeah, but when,
yeah.
well, I don't think the standings are going to change. But when you see the official thing where they say you should have won and you didn't, what's your, I guess, final thought on all that?
Well, my final thought was what my gut was the whole time. It was always telling me that, there's times, I have a lot of respect for those officials, and so when everybody was telling me that it was good, we looked at the thing, it was no good, the call was right, it was no good, and they were still saying it the next day, and I'm like, it just didn't feel right, but I was gonna come and say, yeah, if the official said it was right, and my wife said, well, you don't really believe that, so I kind of just hung with my beliefs on that, though it just didn't feel right, and it didn't look right. After watching basketball for as long as I watched it, that you just felt like that thing had to be good. That it was kind of a feel thing with me. I didn't have, what you guys, your guys' smarts to be able to 29 frames per second, and say, I don't know all that. For Lord's sakes, I'm a basketball coach, but my feel was that thing was good, and so I just kind of stuck with it, and I didn't, I wasn't trying to disrespect those officials or disrespect the process or the game, but I just felt all along the thing was good, so I just kind of hung in there with that. I didn't really, like I said, that's where I was coming from. So, but the great news is, yeah, we won back-to-back games. That's and we move on to the next one, but not yet. I'm 11. We got the rest of this thing.